So welcome again to our Major Arcana series. We've got gone from the Fool to the Magician to the High Priestess. So we've got the Zero. This is the journey started. The soul set off on its journey. Met the Magician, met the High Priestess. Now it's time to meet this lovely lady, another lovely lady, the Empress, who is number 3 in in the Major Arcana trumps. She's the third trump. You can see how beautiful she is. She the Empress. We talked about male and female, and we're going to come across that a lot in the tarot, this idea of male and female energy. And again, I want to stress that it's male and female to me is to do with how we describe a type of energy, because obviously gender roles are fluid and in my opinion are learnt, but it is the kind of energy what we associate with male and female. And obviously the first thing that comes to mind with the Empress, and I think that's quite obvious to all of us that have been brought up in a specific culture, is the mother. So let's start from describing the card. Again, you've got this golden background, golden sky, and which contrasted with the High Priestess, which was sort of blue and white. That's more internal. Again, we're back into the real world now. We're back into the material world, I should say. And there are lovely green trees at the back. There is a beautiful waterfall in the background. She's sitting on a throne, probably stone, but it's actually covered in beautiful plush cushions. It's a lovely shield at her feet with a female symbol. There's lots of wheat at her feet, sheaves, lovely ears of corn, golden ears of corn. She's got a beautiful white dress with, again, what looks like pomegranates. She has a beautiful necklace of pearls. She's holding a scepter with her right hand, and again, the left hand is down on her knees. She has gorgeous red hair, blue eyes. She has a crown of what could be laurel, and she also has a crown of stars, and I think there are 12 stars if we count them. So it's going out of focus a bit. Yeah, 12 stars. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, 12 stars. And she's sitting looking pretty pleased with herself. So we said the Fool comes across, the male magical principle, the male kind of esoteric principle, the female esoteric principle as the High Priestess. And now it's time to meet mum and dad, if we see it that way. The infant growing up into the world and meeting the mother. So this is, I guess, the first kind of real, concrete person that he will meet, whereas the Magician and the High Priestess was kind of magical people. I mean, the Empress is, it is like meeting, your nurturing parent, if you like, the nurture in your life. So the Fool is going to make the acquaintance of his mother. He's going to come across, what it's like to be nurtured. The Empress represents the mother and the nurturing principle. But she's sitting on a plush throne, and she's obviously in a very fertile landscape. She's an empress, so we assume that, you know, she's wealthy, she's well-to-do, she's got all the elements around her in different forms. She has water, she has earth, she has fire in the form of the golden sky, and she's pretty much about material comfort as well, and being the sort of ruler of her own material, you know, materially comfortable environment. She's the queen, the empress of her environment. She holds the space of the female in the tarot. But also, you know, we talked about negative and positive in different cards. It's about what motherhood represents for us. Motherhood is not necessarily all sweetness and light and, you know, stars and apples and corn, you know, ears of corn. You know, we could have a troubled relationship with motherhood, with being a child, you know, of our mothers, with being a mother ourselves. So it's whatever we associate with that kind of mother energy. When the Empress appear, it could be relating to your relationship, to, you know, with your mother, or with whoever was a mother figure or is a mother figure to you. It could be to do with your approach to being a mother or to being a caring parent. It could also relate to your offspring in terms of a project or a business or anything that you kind of feel you've given birth to, a work of art. It doesn't have to be to do with being a child or, you know, a physical child, a baby. So it's to do with creating. It's to do with being, I mean, in this card, doesn't look pregnant, but in many of the Empress cards, the Empress appears as pregnant because the Empress is creating, is creative energy, it's creative, materially creative energy. So it's giving birth, it's actualizing something that is your baby. Like literally, we talk about projects as this is my baby or this is our baby. It doesn't have to be an actual baby. As I said, it could be a painting, it could be a project, it could be a business, it could be an idea. That's what we talk about, is my baby. So that's what the Empress is telling you. And as a stage in life, if we go back to the, you know, the soul going through the major arcana, it could signify your relationship with your mother or your parent or with those who care about you. It could signify how you behave in that role. It could also signify something that you will give birth to or you would like to give birth to and your relationship with that. Again, it can be a double-edged card because our relationship with our mothers and our parents could be a troubled one. It could also signify in material terms, you know, sometimes it can signify, you know, an older woman around us who is very powerful, who has good material grounding, and who can be either really caring or very possessive. The Empress is telling us to step into our material power as females, to step into our nurturing power, and that we can create, and how we relate to that creative energy. There's a lot of lovely caring energy about the Empress, and if we think about it as maybe someone, you know, as a home, you know, as a home or our cave or our nest, the Empress holds that space for us, and it's always a safe space. It's a safe space with the Empress. However, as with any safe space, there will be rules to be obeyed. So if you think about the Empress as, you know, someone always welcoming you back home, you can always go back and sit in her garden and sit at her feet and listen to her and rest your head on her knee, and just listen to her telling you stories and looking after you. But also there will be rules as well to be followed. So you have to kind of follow her rules as well. So that's the kind of, other side of the Empress. If we look at the symbolism again, she's holding a scepter. She's kind of echoing a little bit the magician, as above, so below. Again, there's a divine connection there, but it's more settled. The energy is more settled. She's sitting down. She's more grounded. She has her feet on the ground. We can see her feet on the ground. She's sitting. Her crown of stars, which I mentioned earlier, represent all the planets, the 12 planets. On her dress, she has pomegranates, which again is the fruit of the goddess, represents the goddess. So again, female energy, female power, and female kind of magical power, female divinity is another type of divine female here, but is very much grounded on the earth. And if the High Priestess was Persephone, the Empress is Demeter. She's the goddess above the earth, whereas Persephone is the goddess below in the underworld. The Empress is the goddess above. She's the earth mother. She's Gaia. This is a good way of thinking of the Empress, the Earth Mother, Mother Earth, everything that is physical about the Earth. And physical doesn't mean that it's not spiritual as well. And I'll cover a bit more about that later when I talk about the Pentacles. We always make the mistake of thinking that material and spiritual and physical are different things. They're not. There is a spirituality in the material, in the physical world, of course. And kind of this is what the Empress embodies. The Empress embodies the soul in the bread, the magical, the spiritual in the material. That is pretty much a way of thinking about it. The material world can be spiritual, and it is spiritual. And this is what the Empress reminds us of, is the worth, is how much is it worth? What is it worth to us to be comfortable, to be cared for, to be loved? To eat something nice, to smell something nice, to look at beauty. How spiritual is that? So it's the female principle, is how we relate to the mother, is how we relate to the female, to the caring in our lives, and how much value we place on that. It's creativity in its more abundant and positive form.